Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic for template driven form, that is styling. So mainly we are going to talk about how to apply styling on form based on state like ng-valid and ng-invalid. Okay, so in this session we will see how we can utilize ng-valid and ng-invalid in order to apply the classes for styling the form input. Okay, so by the end of this session you will be able to understand how to apply styling for the form based on their states. But before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic. Because for time being, we are just mainly focusing on how to use template driven forms with styling for to apply styling on the basis of state. But before that, you should know what is a template driven form, what is styling, and other basic thing that we have already discussed, because these all sessions are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, things would be really very easy and interesting for you. And for the detailed content, like, you can refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available for all of you in the description box. You can just simply go through it, and there you will find more than 3000 plus free resources available in both Hindi as well as English language. Okay, alright, so let's get started. Here you can see I have firstly noted down one main heading, that is Angular course by Sharmit. Then we have second heading that shows template driven form example in Angular for styling forms based on state ng-valid and ng-invalid. Now after this, what we will do here, I will add one horizontal row. Why? Just to separate out these heading with the actual form. So let's add it. So here you can see I have added it. Now next what we will do, as we are sure that we are going to create a form, so for that there are some prerequisites, like we need to import the forms module, otherwise it will not allow us to use the form, right? So to import the forms module, what we will do, we will simply go to app.component.ts file, app.component.ts file. Now in this ts file, what we will do, we will simply go to import part, and here I will add the forms module. Okay, always make sure that whenever you write it here, it should be imported here as well, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so this thing is ready. Now next what we will do, we will simply go to app.component.html file again, and here we have the horizontal row. Let's add another horizontal row, and in between these two horizontal row we will define our form. Now to define the form, what we will do, we will simply use one form tag, and in form tag we will mention hashtag myform equal ng form. Okay, so right now it is not showing any error. Why? Because we have already imported the forms module. If it was not there, it will throw the error, but right now it is not throwing error because we have already imported it. Okay, now after this what we will do, we will simply add one label here, and in this label we will mention name. Okay, name. So what this name will do, like, it will just tell us about the field, like which field we are utilizing. After this we will simply create one input field, and in this input field one by one we will define all the things like type, name, and other required thing. So firstly I will write type here. In type I will mention text. Okay, then we will mention here name. In name I will write username. Then we will write here ng model. After that we will apply here required, and after required we will mention here min length, and it should be 3. Okay, and then we will apply one template reference variable here as well, that is for username ctrl. Okay, and inside this I will write ng model. Perfect. So this thing is ready. why we have specified all these things. First thing is, let's try to understand ng-valid and ng-invalid class. So ng-valid class will be turned on only when all validation are satisfied properly or all validation are true. In that case, ng-valid class will be applied. On the other hand, if any of the validation is failed, then in that case ng-invalid class will be invoked. Okay, so we have two classes on two state classes, or two classes on which we are applying on the basis of state, which is ng-valid and ng-invalid. So for that we have applied two validation, simple validation here. One is required, that it should contain anything, otherwise it will be, like, we can't keep it blank. Okay, and the second thing is min length, it should be 3 at least. Clear? Now simply save this form, and now you can see it is ready. If you want to define submit button and process the data, that you can do, but here I'm just going to show you the CSS part, right? That is why I'm not adding any other extra thing, otherwise you might get confused. Or if you want, you can simply put to br tag here. Let me show you the button part, and because here we are mainly focusing on CSS part, right? So br tag is added, then you can add button, and in button we will write here submit. That's it. Okay, and that's it. So now let's see how this form looks like, and then we will apply this. So far we haven't applied anything, right? So just go to ng serve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds, and now you can see we have the form with the required headings. So firstly it is showing Angular course by Tech Sharmit. This is our main heading. Then we have secondary heading, template driven form example in Angular, styling form based on state, ng-valid and ng-invalid. Then we have one horizontal row. After that we have label that shows name. Then we have input field that is for writing the input, and one button we have, and also another horizontal row. Now let me show you one thing. Currently it is blank, but it is not indicating that this is a required field, right? Also, if I write only AB, it is not showing any error. Even after completing it, still it is not showing anything. So to indicate whether it is valid or not invalid, what we will do, we will apply the CSS. How? Let me show you. For that, let's go to app.component.css file. Now in this CSS file, what we will do, we will apply the classes. How? You just need to write here input.ng-valid and then curly braces, and here I will apply the border of 10 pixels solid green. So what it will do now, like whenever it is valid, currently it is not valid. Let me do one thing. Instead of 2br, let's remove it so that it looks good. And yeah, now I think it's good. So you can see currently it is not valid, right? That is why it is not highlighting anything. But when I write A, B and C, so now you can see it turned to green automatically. How? Because Angular is internally applying these CSS. Here in HTML we didn't add anything, right? Regarding CSS, it is automatically considered from this file input.ng-valid. So whenever the case is ng-valid, it will turn this green border. Okay, similarly, if I provide only two things, and AB is not only thing, like you can write anything like Amit or whatever you want to write, but if it is passing all the validation, then it will turn it to green. But right now it is not highlighting the red, but it should show, right? Because if it is invalid, then also we will apply the class. So for that, let's apply right input dot ng-invalid, then curly braces. Here I will write border 10 pixel solid red and save it. So now you can see it is showing a red. Why? Because it is empty, and we have mentioned the validation. How many validation we have applied? Only 2. One, it should be required. Second, it should contain 3 characters. So that is why it is required field, and we have kept it blank. That is why it is showing red. When I write AB, still it is error because it is not 3 characters, at least 3 is required. The moment when I make it 3, it will turn to green. Okay, so overall in this session what we learned how to apply ng-valid and ng-invalid class to make the styling work for forms based on the state of ng-valid and ng-invalid. So yeah, I think this session is clear to all of you. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Sharmit.